everyone, this is Peak Entertainment and we are back again, and we're now going to talk about Black Lightning and the recent announcement that the show's 4th season will be its last. The CW superhero show premiered back in 2018 and initially was a standalone series from the other CW superhero shows in terms of a connected universe, but it was recently integrated into the other shows and the same universe through the very hyped up Crisis on Infinite Earths event, which screened late last year. Now for me, this is quite disappointing news because I felt the show really was hitting its stride. The previous 2 seasons, whilst I think were overall very good, they did have some flaws and issues, and overall they really struggled to find that typical balance between a superhero show and more of a social commentary show. There were at times when the show could be a bit preachy and a bit overloaded in its message when it came to talk about the racial issues and the police brutality and the education system within the environment of free land and youth culture and social media. And whilst these are all very important subjects and it's good to have a show that always has some substance to it, it kind of overtook the more comic book-esque adventure that you would normally associate with these shows. And I think at times tonally the show was a bit uneven, but it was the show's 3rd season where it really did find some consistency, in particularly when we talk about the story arcs of the ASA occupation and the ongoing battle with Markovia. Both of these story arcs really added a dimension and a depth to the storytelling, and we really got some really strong levels of characterization and narratives throughout. It really branched itself out and it became much more of that strong superhero-esque comic book adventure that I think a lot of fans had initially wanted it to be. So there was a lot more promise, and we had some great action, some great special effects throughout the series, and we also had emerged a very strong villain in Gravedigger who really came through in the latter stages of the season. So there was a lot of promise going ahead to season 4. When looking to this, yes, Black Lightning wasn't necessarily the strongest show in terms of its ratings, but it was never about that. I think it was more a case of the fact that it was able to retain a small core of viewers throughout its run. And to be honest, the CW shows, they're kind of a unified operation, if you like. They always work together to support one another, and it's not as much about how many ratings they garner, it's much more about the audience feedback that they get and the amount of merchandise that each shows can sell together as one. For the last 4 years it has been a very successful interconnected universe, far more successful than what we had with the cinematic versions of the DC characters within the DC EU, and Black Lightning was becoming a strong component of that. So from reading various reports and articles, I don't think this was a case of any disharmony behind the scenes. There was no controversies. It wasn't a case of the lead actors leaving the show. I guess it was just for creative reasons from what I'm reading from the article, and maybe they felt that Black Lightning had reached the end of its story. They could no longer branch out the characters and development and take them forward. Now, I will be honest, when the show first started, I was very skeptical. I wasn't sure whether the character of Black Lightning warranted its own series, and I think maybe this was piggybacking off the whole revolution in terms of the black superhero content coming through within movies and television, because of course we had Black Panther coming through, and also with the Netflix Marvel's Luke Cage. So that's what I felt at the time, but no, Black Lightning has really surprised me, and it's shown its strength and managed to sustain itself for 4 seasons, which I think is a good run for any particular show, no matter how popular or talked about it is within social media. I think if you can go 4 to 5 seasons, normally seasons consist of anywhere from 13 to 15 episodes. I think that's quite a good decent run for the show. I just think it's a bit disappointing because it was really hitting its stride. So it will be interesting to see how they do wrap up season 4. And I think the good thing about this is it's not a cancellation. I know many people want to run with that idea, but the cancellation, the difference there is that when a show is kind of halfway through its season and then it's brought to an abrupt end, this isn't brought to an abrupt end. It knows when the story's going to be finished now, so they've got an entire season now to really focus on wrapping up and bringing the story and the series to a well-rounded conclusion. So what does it mean going forward for the CW verse and its current shows? Because over the course of the last couple of months, we've seen a lot of changes. Yes, as with all entertainment, it was hit a lot by the COVID outbreak. As I've mentioned before in my previous reviews of the shows, a lot of the shows had to cut down a certain amount of episodes throughout their seasons, and we all know some of them have had their delayed releases, but it seems now that most of the shows will be coming back in January. We of course know that Supergirl will be ending on its 6th season, and I've done a video for that, giving my thoughts, of which you can check out the channel. How long will The Flash go on for? This will be its 7th season now, so you wonder how much can it keep going. That is the most viewed show of the CW shows so far, but how much longer can The Flash continue? Can it get to season 10? Of course, we all know about Batwoman entering its 2nd season with a new lead character in Ryan Wilder and with a new lead actress in Javicia Leslie. You can check out my channel. I've done various videos covering the Batwoman season 1 and also the recent reveals that we've had of Javicia in a new costume. We of course have the Superman and Lois show coming in January as well, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the future. I generally like Tyler Hitchin's version of Superman, so how will he fare now when he has to lead his own show? And there will be a fresh, different dynamic to the Superman representation, because this will of course have a much more of a family feel towards it, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And we've had recent confirmations that we will be getting a new Wonder Girl show with the character Yara Flor, I think her name is, and this is a Latina version of the character. So to be honest, I don't know too much more about that, but that's coming up in the pipeline in the future as well, so we'll see how that gets on. Stargirl will be entering its 2nd season now, and that will be migrating with the CW network, and you can check out my reviews of the 1st season of Stargirl within the channel, and I thought that was a very strong start to the 1st season. And Legends of Tomorrow is still going. Now I think a lot of people felt that Legends would probably be one of the first shows to be cancelled, and are very surprised that it is heading to its 6th season. I haven't done a lot of focus on Legends, to be honest. I was with the show a lot for the first 3 seasons. I think season 2 and 3 in particular were its strongest, and then it's kind of sadly descended a lot more into self-parody and kind of more comedy sketch type of narrative, and lost its way in terms of building any kind of substantial story. So I am surprised that Legends has lasted for 6 seasons now, so it will be interesting to see what will happen going forward. Will they retain a connected universe, or now that we've seen the ending of Supergirl and Black Lightning now, will they break up and become much more of their separate entities, or will we see newer characters coming into fray, and will we begin a kind of next phase of the CW universe, much like we got with the Marvel universe? And we will also of course see a lot of these shows branching over more to HBO Max as they really struggle now to find new content, so maybe that will affect it as well, because a lot of the CW shows currently have deals with Netflix, and it has been suggested by people that maybe that's the reason why some of the shows are coming to the end, because eventually HBO Max wants to snap up these shows, bring them forward to that streaming platform, but obviously they can't if some shows have got current deals with Netflix, so maybe that might be the reason as well. But this is all speculation, there's been nothing confirmed on here. But just overall, as a final footnote, just very disappointing and sad to see Black Lightning ended on its 4th season, because I genuinely feel that there was a lot more mileage for at least, I'd say, 2 more seasons if it managed to stay on a consistency built from the 3rd season, where I think it really found its niche, it really found its footing, and all of the characters are really interested and very multi-layered going forward. So there are current rumours of a Painkiller series that's coming up. I'm not too sure on that either, because I felt that that character kind of reached its expiration point. I've noted in my reviews of Black Lightning of the season 3 that there was no real need for that character to come back in the fray. They kind of had exhausted all the narrative storytelling that they had, so I'm not too convinced by that either, but we will wait and see in the long run. But overall, those are my thoughts on Black Lightning coming to an end within its 4th season. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think there was a lot more mileage for the show? Do you think it could have at least gone on for another 2 or 3 seasons? What do you think now for the CW verse going forward? Do you think it could still kind of retain that massive connected universe that it spent years building, or do you think this is the beginning of the end and we're seeing constant fractions, and in the future we'll see these shows be on their own and be more for standalone entities as opposed to a large connected universe? But those are my thoughts for now on Black Lightning coming to the end within its 4th season. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Take care of yourselves, stay at safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.